One of the biggest questions I get asked from leaders is, how do I get buy-in? How do I get buy-in from teachers? I have this big change initiative. I'm facing teacher resistance. How do I overcome that resistance? So we're going to talk through a lot of different options today, and I'm going to walk you through a template rooted in adaptive leadership challenges. So when we have an adaptive challenge, that's a very different solution than a technical challenge. So we're going to figure out, how do we diagnose that it is an adaptive challenge, and then what do we do about it moving forward? So we're going to kind of play with the idea of buy-in in general and figure out a way to overcome the issue of having resistance or needing buy-in through a completely different approach. Number one, we need one clear vision for the year, for multiple years, ideally, no more than one, two absolutely tops if you need to, but one clear vision. Everything that you do, all change is funneled through that one clear vision. When we have a clear vision, we can co-create that vision in the first place with stakeholders, and that's even better. And then we don't need to constantly justify a new change initiative because everyone's bought into that vision. This is just how we're going to live it out. Number two, we need to make space on teachers' plates. Everyone is so overloaded in education. We can't just keep adding initiatives. We need to clear the space for what is most important. And if you're leading this change initiative around curriculum that is challenging, affirming, and inspiring, yes, that is a priority, right? That's why we're here. That is the business of education. So make space, take things off the plate that traditionally in education are totally on our plates and really don't need to be. Once you do this, you'll have the emotional capacity as well as the time to be able to devote to this new charge. And it will really lessen resistance when you're not asking teachers to do the impossible of create more time and do more things in the same very short amount of time. Number three, resistance as loss is a huge tenet of adaptive leadership. So when we think about resistance, it's usually not resistance to the change per se. It is resistance to a loss of some kind, some sort of emotional loss, a loss of identity. I did my job well, and now I'm faced with this data that tells me, oh, I didn't, or my student's experience is not as positive as I thought it was. I need to shift. What does that mean about me and my identity as a good teacher, right? There's a lot of emotion wrapped up in that. And often when we focus too much on the data side of things, we don't focus enough time on inspiring creativity and speaking to the heart of what is going on for people. That is a huge misstep when we're leading change. If we can do those things well, we're going to have a much easier time. For these last 2 points, I want to jump into a former blog post that I wrote about getting teacher buy-in. So I want to show you this Kubler-Ross change curve where we start in the stage of denial. To break up this denial, where we have, adherence to the status quo, we need to communicate information. So how do we do that? The change formula that Dan Miller puts forth, here's a nice visual for us, is change equals dissatisfaction times vision times first step is greater than resistance, which means if dissatisfaction, vision, or first step are 0, if we don't realize there's a problem, if we don't have a clear vision, if we don't have an ability to help people get to that first step, to take action, to experiment, resistance wins because anything multiplied by 0 is 0. We need to present folks with the data that shows them that there's a problem. We need to create this disorientation. Once teachers have that information, then they move into frustration. This is where that disruption happens. There's anger, there's fear. At this point, as leaders, we need to just watch, listen, and support. This is a highly emotional thing. We talked about resistance as loss. We need to let folks get through that point and then be there when they're ready to experiment. Again, clear the plates to explore and test. Give job-embedded PD opportunities where teachers can go to another teacher's classroom and see the curriculum in action. See a strategy that centers student voice. How does this teacher do it? Make it organic and fuel creativity. Identify those pockets of positive deviance and expand them outward. Once we've experimented, we make a decision to move forward with several strategies. We're going to integrate them into our regular practice. We're rebuilding what it means to have amazing curriculum. We have a renewed sense of commitment to this goal and this new approach, and we are celebrating our success along the way. When you are leading large-scale change, you are likely facing adaptive challenges. They are different from technical challenges where a PD will suffice, and I want to help you identify when that is. So when are you going to leverage all the great things we talked about today? Here is a mini workbook for you. There are a series of activities like values, action, alignment prompts, competing commitment activities. I love this one for meetings, unearthing the things that must not be named. That's when something is palpable in the air and something is not being said. Also, identifying avoidance. When we're strategic planning, this often crops up. We're displacing responsibility or diverting attention, and these are some great look-fors to help you. Diagnose if you have an adaptive challenge. You're not going to be able to just fix it in a technical solution like a PD. You are going to dig in and do the work. In order to do the work, you're going to think about the various things we talked about in this video. Go back and rewatch if you need to. Apply, check out the link to the blog post I referenced, as well as that workbook, Diagnosing Adaptive Challenges, in the notes. Let me know how it goes and reach out with any questions. If you love this video, you're going to absolutely love my curriculum bootcamp. In just 2 days, we have a live experience that helps your department create feminist, anti-racist curricula that challenges, affirms, and inspires all students. We also have a self-paced course option for teachers or departments who want to go at this at their own pace. Check it out. I'll link to it in the notes below.